So now we're getting ready to weave. This is your shuttle. I'm using a 9-inch shuttle. Your 15-inch flip comes with a 16-inch shuttle, but because I'm only weaving 4 inches, I chose a shorter shuttle. So this is how I wind a shuttle. First of all, I wind it just around the end like this to secure it, and then I wind a figure 8 on the edge. That's the yarn comes off easily, and you can get more yarn on your shuttle if you use this method. So what I tell my students is think up from the bottom, up from the bottom. If you think that way, then you will get this figure 8 on the edge of your shuttle. And you can see I'm kind of moving the shuttle and my hand at the same time. It's a pretty smooth process. Okay, so now I have the yarn on there, I'm ready to weave. So now we're ready to weave. So the first thing we have to do is close up these spaces, and that's why when I was talking about tying on in smaller groups, this is why, because the bigger the group, the wider the space becomes. So that's the first step we have to do. So just to understand how the heddle works, we threaded the loom in neutral, so that's the threads aren't up or down. So that's the neutral position. Then when you're weaving, you're going to be in the up shed, and when the heddle is in the up shed, the holes are up. And then when you go down to the bottom shed, the slots are up. So you're just going to alternate between the up shed and the down shed. Okay? So I'm just using the same size yarn I use for the warp. So what I do, I like to use the same size, because if I use a really fat yarn, it bulges out at the sides. So this keeps it pretty much the same correct size. But I'm going to weave back and forth 3 or 4 times. And the reason I'm doing that is that's going to help me get it spread out. So I'm not beating. I'm just weaving back and forth. I'm allowing a lot of extra space at the selvages, which is the edge of your weaving. This is just waste. So don't worry. So I think I want to go one more time. It depends how close your warps are, how often you want. Now I'm going to press. See how those spaces are closing up? They're almost good. I'm just going to move this out here a little bit. You still have a little bit of space, so let's do that again. I think I just need to weave back and forth 3 times this time, because that did pretty well. I have the loom clamped at the back to keep it from sliding around, because this is kind of a slippery table. You could also weave on a stand, and sometimes I put the loom in my lap to weave, and I hook the back legs on the edge of the table to do that. Just pick something that feels comfortable to you. Okay, so now I almost have it. I'm going to do it one more time. This time I'm not going to be quite so sloppy with my selvages. Okay, so that looks pretty good to start. So now I'm just going to start weaving my project. If I am using a different yarn color to spread my warp, then I would just cut this yarn off and start my project yarn. So now I'm just going to weave up and put my shuttle through the shed. This space is called the shed. And I like to put my shuttle down, especially if you never woven before, you just have more control. So this is tight against the selvage edge, and then I have a little slight angle, and then I'm just going to press it into place. And I'm using a gentle pressure. Now I'm in the down shed. I'm going to weave across. I have my selvage thread. at the edge, have a little angle, and then I'm going to press. So that's all there is to it. You're just going to go up and down and up and down. There's kind of a sweet spot when you're weaving. I like to weave kind of in this zone. Your selvages are going to be more even, your beat is going to look more even, and then as you get closer to the heddle, your shed gets smaller. So I like to weave about this much and then advance it. Sometimes it's hard to stop weaving to do that, but you'll reap the rewards of doing that because it will look a lot more even. Your weaving will look even. So let's say I want to advance my work now. I'm going to put this heddle in the neutral position, and then I'm going to release the tension slightly in the back by pulling back on the beam and releasing the pawl so that the ratchet gear comes forward a little bit. Then I can crank it forward here. If it's not enough, I just go back here again and release it, crank it forward. Okay, so I don't want to go further where this bar is going to get in the way of my heddle when I'm weaving. So that's about as close as I would want to be to this beam.